Welcome to Infinite Parkour. This is a data pack in which... Okay, I follow immediately. I'm going to redo that. Welcome to Infinite Parkour. This is a data pack from where you jump from generated block to generated block while different effects are going on and stuff like that. You're increasing the number at the bottom of the screen there as well as on the right, and that's how many blocks that you have jumped to. Once you fall, your record is recorded at the bottom, and your goal is to get a higher score as you go on and on. So I actually have something to show you guys real quick, and let's go take a look over there. So Ofek's been hard at work. He's the other person who's been working on this project mainly, and he has been working on this really cool idea. We've been playing with the concept of having jump packs. It's been suggested before by a couple others where we can introduce other forms of jumps by allowing the player to choose what kind of jumps they'll be able to find, and we've started making an editor so people can create these kinds of things. So how it works, there's this block that is always going to be the spot that you're going to start at. You're good to then just place the stone blocks here that represent normal blocks that you're going to be landing on, and you're free to build this how you would like. Of course, this is all considered to be one jump, so you can make it as little as much as you want. So you could make it really complex and it would always generate in this order, or you can make it as simple as just a neo, right? So this block here is what we're using as a blocker. So the idea is that the player is not intended to ever get on top of these blocks. They're meant to be going around these blocks, or even just using these as decorations. To mark something as the ending, you can then dye it green like this, and the player's jump will end when they land on the green block. Now, some other interesting ideas we've been playing around with is alternate routing and pathing as something that's also been heavily suggested in the past. So let's say there was something that went all the way up over here. It's super extra, but up to the player. We could then say, hey, there's a pickup up here, and they could receive a reward for making it up the jump. In this case, this would be actually the easier route, but, you know, just an extra way to give incentive to other methods. These are all mainly just placeholders for now. We haven't decided exactly how pickups would work or in any way that they would function. There's also options for having different kinds and stuff like that. How this comes into play with the jump packs is once you've created something like this, you're good to head into here, and then you're good to right click on one of these and save your jump in 3D space like that. And I actually had something I was creating over here. I could left click to load, and now you can take a look at what I was making earlier, which is these jumps around these big blocks that have different paths here. You could go over here to get this pickup, and then you have to double back with the goal to be heading into this direction over to the screen block. It's really an interesting idea here, and this has support for tons of jumps in your jump packs for even pages worth as well. Up to 7 of those for now. We're all going to be working on trying to figure out ways to incorporate jumps into these sort of pack designs and allow you to be able to make your own and share them with each other. It's all going to be data stored so that you can import someone else's pack, play with it, swap out for packs, turn ones on and off. There'll be certain theme packs that maybe we'll create, maybe have a whole set just for fence jumps or just for ladder jumps, but we'll be heading into that and seeing how that works out. The other idea is that these blocks will be able to be replaced with whatever different decorations if we plan on adding any later, so that these can't just be gold or whatever we have planned there. If there's variation afoot, we could add that in. The idea for jump packs originally comes from Lizabee on YouTube, but of course, tons of other people have also mentioned that idea before. The idea for a jump editor originally came from Blast Game off of my Discord, as well as obviously more people have suggested that before. And then in general, this whole system will be incredibly useful for implementing harder jumps as well as different types of jumps. That's coming in the future. That's been heavily requested by tons of people, including guy that likes the number 27, Lemmy K, The Sound Unique, Neumann Alive, Cakerama, and Crabsicle off the YouTube comments. I don't have all those here, but they were made known, especially like even on like the first or second videos. And this is just something really cool. He's been hard at work at for weeks. Some really great stuff. So now I pretty much gotta take all this data about where the blocks should be and such from all those jumps, and start placing them in here, because right now the way that we've been generating the blocks, it's just a little bit too harsh. There's nothing limiting it, so there's times where you can get really sharp turns or odd angles that don't really fit that well. And also, this is entirely random, so technically the player could reach the edge of the world on accident or other stuff like that I would like to be able to correct for with the way that I'm planning on implementing this. So let's go take a look over back here in the test world. I basically have everything set up currently to these two ideas, but these don't really matter anymore because I gotta throw these out. Basically, I was choosing between a random position where to place the block, and then we had different angles that they could spawn at, and I was avoiding the corners and such. I'm now just pretty much going to worry about whether it's on the left or the right and being able to mirror between those two, because most jumps will be able to be mirrored. So yeah, I'm just going to take a look and see how I can get all of this data into a format that the game will be able to place stuff at, pretty much. Alright, so I'm going to go over real quick the basic system that Ofek has already put in place for me that I'm going to be utilizing. Basically, this is how jump packs work. Each one of these blocks is a jump pack, and all the candles on top represent the different jumps that are located. Some have a lot of jumps, some have very few jumps, and they're all organized just in this group here, this pool. So we're able to select which jump pack you want using this function command. All that's important right here is the ID. So right here, you could choose different IDs to choose different jump packs. These all have their own names, or at least they will be once we get more jump packs. And there's one right here called my jump pack. So running this command is literally just like me doing this and being able to take this and throw it in here over here. And now we have the jump pack being selected. So I've chosen that jump pack and all of its jumps, as you can see up here, to be placed over here. And now we have another function that will allow us to choose a random jump, you see right here. So basically this is brought over its couple of jumps, and now by running that small command, we can take those and spread them out along here and basically separate those out so that we could choose one jump from this group using this command there. And then from here, you're good to run this third command, and this will literally take one of the random candles and bring it out over to me. And what I mean by that is it will literally just display all the information in chat here. As you can see, this is a different type of jump. So those are the three commands that I have to run and how they will work. It's pretty much selecting a jump pack, putting it in here, randomizing between the different jumps, and providing that to me directly. So once I have this data here, I just have to convert the positions into markers so the blocks can go there. Alright, so I've actually made some progress now finally. I spent a bit of time rewriting some stuff, but basically, you know how this command pops this up in chat? I now have a thing that's going to go through the section here and labeled blocks. It's going to then run for every single space of data in here, or item, I guess. That is going to be this command here, but first I have to run this to set some data in place, and now when I run this, it is going to say this message once per block, and there's 9 of them here. And if you were to count through here all the times position and type show up, that's 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. So it's working. I basically have made a function that is going to run for every block, which is perfect because next we just have to define their positions. Of course, these positions in here are relative to the block that they're starting at. So basically, if you have a starting block here, one of these positions you see is 0 0 0. That's because that's that block, and the rest of these are coordinates based on here. So that -1 1 3 is in the -x1, it's up 1, and then it's forward 3, so it's corresponding to this. So all I have to do is then take these positions and throw little asterisks in front of them like it's a relative coordinate, and then that will move in those 3 directions based on this position. Alright, so I got something really interesting here. I have some test commands still working out how to put them all in the function, but basically if I pull the data using that and then run this one, which is going to summon all of the markers needed for the jump. It's specifically only the ones that the player is meant to jump to. And there they all are, including the one I'm standing at. And this is all for a specific jump of mine. In fact, I think it's one of the ones I showed you earlier where it had like the 2 paths, but not entirely sure. And then each of these are also have tags on them that let me know that these are meant to be blocks. So let's get this actually running within the game and get the blocks placed in and such. Alright, let's try to see if this actually worked. Hopefully it does. I mean, so far everything looks pretty good. And oh, that's going up towards the... Oh, and there's some more. Oh, yeah, something is not working right. Why is there so many blocks? Oh, okay. Oh, and that one... It's so weird. It like made me fall through that. I think I know what it is too. I'm generating all these blocks, but I'm only detecting when I land on like the first one and not if I land on the last one in the sequence. So it's creating some weird parts with that. I have a tag specified for the last jump in the sequence, so I should be detecting when the player's on that one to know when to move on to the next jump. And it's even more evident with how high my high score got right there. It got all the way to 32, and that just went to 18, so let's look into that. Alright, this is really exciting. Let me hop into here. So as I walk up, normal block jump, of course. As soon as I go here, another normal block, but you can see that going off into a direction. And now we have a different block jump. So I made a couple different presets for the jump packs. This is one of them right here. This would have a pickup on it, but the pickups are not added right now. I just set the platforms. Oh, did not mean to fall there, my bad. Anyway, as I was trying to show you, this generated another one of the jumps where this block generates the next one. And so I have it waiting so that when you have to go to the final block location to have it work. Now, the trail is currently not working. It is just going to the wrong positions. And then the block displays aren't fading incorrectly either. Like this block got really big when I was on this one, but I actually have to be on this guy to make that work. But as you can see, out of like the 4 presets I have right now, they are in fact generating, and they are waiting for me to get to the final block to generate the next set, and it only goes up by 1 when I get there. Here's another one. This is actually a new one. The only issue is we are getting some things here where this block was in front of the final position, so it is in the way for me to get to the next path here, which is really far. Forgot how far that is. And then we just got the same one again because there's only 4 of them, but as you can see, it is creating the next jump from the jump pack and such. So let me show you which jumps I have loaded. So these are the 4 different jumps you were seeing, or 5, I guess. Oh, and there's also a 6th one back there. I didn't even remember that one. As you can see, this is the one that was left and right. There's one that was just like up and around and across. This was the bigger, more complex one where I had to end on that block. This was another one of the longer ones where I had to go from that side to this side. It's hard to tell because I don't have any of the blockers in the way, which I should actually work on placing as well. There's this one too in the back. So I was randomizing between these and it was working because these were exactly what we were seeing, which is pretty shocking. I should get these blockers in next, actually. I was thinking like what block those should be, and I was thinking maybe I should use yellow glass, just at least for the golden colored spot I have right now. So yeah, I should get those blockers up so that that jump doesn't look bad. The trail is going to be hard to define because I can make it just go from like start to end, but that would look weird because it's not going through all of these blocks. But it's also hard to figure out what order these should go in because it's kind of up to the player when they make the jump. Like I could just connect them all, but then you'd have lines like between each of those and it would look weird. So the trail may not work for a little while we figure that out. The scaling is something though I would like to do, and it's just kind of entirely broken. So I want to look into fixing that, as well as let's get those blockers in. I keep saying this, but this is really big as well because I've just done a lot of changes once again. So for one, what we're going to start seeing as we get more points in, I added some more basic jumps just to get more variety in there. I have fixed the trail somewhat, So it just goes directly to the goal point, I should say. So in this next jump, it's not going between all the points, it's just going straight to the end, and that way it's a way of knowing where the ending is. But of course, that's not the permanent change. And here you can also start seeing some of the blockers. So I have made these gold glass panes, or not gold glass planes, but yellow. It's pretty much gold at this point. And this is how glass works with block displays. It doesn't really fully clear out the transparency in between, so it layers up a lot more, but I didn't know that this is how it looked. And I actually can see through them, so I might want to use those as a fix for those when you go inside of them, but you know, we'll touch on that. You can see block displays through block displays, which I did not expect, so that is definitely a fix. I should look for those. But anyway, I have these in. These are solid blocks. You cannot run into them. I haven't tested what happens if you go on top of them yet, but I'm sure I won't activate other blocks and stuff like that. And so I have the trail working, as you might have saw there too as well. I have the scaling working, I forgot to mention. So yeah, the scaling, as you just saw there, it was as I approached this gold block, and now the scaling for that block is as I approach the next gold block there. So it will go to full size when I land here, and all the blocks scale properly, including all of the blockers, which is a really cool effect and not something I expected to really work out that well. And overall, I think this has really developed the game into a further point where this is starting to feel like something really way more interesting. One thing about this is, of course, I need to get these jump packs more developed. And so what I'm planning on doing is I want to actually develop like a base jump pack, because we have a few pages here where I just make simple, small little jumps, kind of what we saw in the beginning. Not as complex as these maybe, but now that we have that option, I can start including more interesting jumps like those and maybe start working on that. Now, as you may notice, is that Ofek has been working on this at the same time as me, and he started to work on this bundle idea where you're able to grab your blocks and other tools through here, including some special ones for some interesting jumps. But as you can tell, they're not ready yet, so I won't be able to use those yet. Those are definitely gonna be the main focus of it. That might be ready later in the video, actually, because we're making this in different days, of course. But at least next, I want to tackle and just make some more jumps for this base jump pack that everyone will start on as default, and will kind of be the jump pack meant for that gold area. And so it's gonna be interesting to try to play with the balance there. Alright, and I'll consider that the base couple jumps there. As you can see, I've set them up in here, thrown them in here to be a part of the jump pack. And you might have noticed when I was going through all those that I only really used the left side, and that's because there's another part of how this all works that I want to implement, and that is I want all the jumps to be able to be mirrored to the right side. So in theory, you only really need to design one side and it will automatically mirror, but you can still make jumps that include both sides, and it will just add variation within the jumps that they could be flipped around, and that way it's a little bit more interesting, because even if you start to recognize one jump as being repeatable over and over and over, there's at least some variation that sometimes it will be in the opposite direction. And in theory, that shouldn't be too hard with the system that I showed you earlier with all the markers. I just need to flip the X. I need to, if it's positive, I need to make it negative. If it's negative, I need to make it positive, and that should mirror them across. So let's get that in next. Alright, so I have now put in jump mirroring, as you can tell by me going left and right. And I noticed with this new jump pack, since all the jumps are very straightforward that I've created, it's actually really way easier to get further along because there's way less sharp turns, or if any, really. This is actually like weird that I find more enjoyment in jumps like these compared to the more complex ones, but that just kind of indicates how maybe there should be a feature later on where you can choose a difficulty that is just more simple, laid back, relaxed. Definitely something to keep in mind. Alright, so I quickly added one more jump that's a little bit more complex to kind of make a point. So a particle effect just went off when I landed here, but right now these currently don't do anything, and they don't increase this value down here, even though they're blocks. And so that brings up the point that certain jumps have more blocks than others, or at least they can. So this is where we have to kind of question, how do we play the particles and how do we do the score? What I'm thinking of doing is allowing for particles to play on any jump as well as any of the other decorations or sound effects, but I don't want them to necessarily set your score. Rather, instead of having your score linked on your jumps, I'm thinking of actually changing this to be your distance from where you started, which isn't too hard to calculate. It's actually just your Z value. as it increases for each jump, and you pretty much start at 0 minus a little bit, so that wouldn't be too difficult to calculate, about minus 12. So I'm gonna make those two major changes. Alright, and now all of these jumps should be able to give me particle effects. Doesn't mean they'll always give me particle effects, but there you go. As you see, that one just did, and such like that, different sound effects. Like that one just went off on this block, even though this one counts as the next jump. So got particle effects working on them all, as well as some other small changes and stuff like that. All right, and with all those changes, I think I'm at a really good spot with how the block generation and jump packs are in. Hopefully in the future we'll be able to finish and polish up this area while other development's going on, so that the editor has those extra features that we were thinking about adding and stuff. But you know, we'll see that come on in the future. And with that, I hope you really enjoyed the video. If you did, leave a like so I know that from you, and then subscribe if you want to know when the next video comes out. This video was edited by Cinnamon from my Discord. They have links in the description and also in the comment. Come join my Discord if you want to talk with other people that like Minecraft, like technical stuff, or just want to chill, and I'll see you in the next video.